Welcome back to Mindset English. Today we're going to talk about something that might just change the way you learn English forever. You see, there's a simple truth about language that many learners overlook: the power of listening. Listening isn't just something passive that happens in the background. It's your key, your secret weapon, your superpower when it comes to improving your English. Imagine this. You're sitting in a room where everyone is speaking English. You can hear laughter, stories, conversations flowing like music. People are connecting, joking, sharing memories. Wouldn't it feel amazing to understand every single word, to laugh when they laugh, to jump into the conversation and be a part of it without hesitation? That feeling of truly belonging in an English-speaking space. It's not a fantasy. It's something completely possible. And listening is what will take you there. Listening to English isn't just about understanding sounds. It's like opening a door to a whole new world where English stops feeling foreign and starts feeling natural. When you listen, really listen, English begins to live in your mind, not just as a subject to study, but as a language to feel. Just like when you hear your native language, it becomes part of your thoughts, your rhythm, your reactions. Listening helps make English your language, not just one you learn, but one you live. Think about how children learn to speak. They don't begin with grammar books. They don't worry about spelling or silent letters. They don't ask questions like, is that the past perfect or present continuous? Instead, they listen. Every single day they hear the people around them talk, their parents, their siblings, their friends. Little by little, their brains pick up the sounds, the patterns, the meanings, and eventually they begin to copy what they hear. They start to form words, then sentences, then whole conversations. All of that without memorizing a single rule. You can do the exact same thing. When you listen to English every day, even just a little bit, your brain begins to adapt. You absorb the language naturally. You begin to understand phrases, idioms, tone, even humor, without needing to break everything down. The more you listen, the more familiar English becomes. It starts to sound like something you've always known, and listening isn't limited to classroom lessons or educational CDs. The best kind of listening is the real-world kind. When you listen to real conversations, podcasts, videos, movies, or even voice messages from native speakers, you're experiencing English the way it's truly spoken. You get used to the speed of natural speech. You begin to hear informal expressions like, "What's up?" or "I gotta go." And your brain starts recognizing them not as strange phrases, but as normal, everyday language. Of course, it's normal to not understand everything at first. That's not a failure. That's progress. Not understanding forces your brain to work smarter. It trains you to rely on context and rhythm, not just on knowing every single word. Here's a simple tip. Don't pause every second to translate. Instead, try to catch the main idea. If someone tells a story about their weekend and you recognize words like park, friends, movie, and dinner, then you already understand the outline of the story. Even if you didn't catch every detail, your brain is incredibly smart. It will begin filling in the blanks automatically, especially with repeated listening. This is where the magic of repetition comes in. When you listen to the same video or podcast 2 or 3 times, something amazing happens. The first time, you catch the general message. The second time, you notice new words. By the third or fourth time, you begin to catch every small expression, every pronunciation shift, every emotion behind the words. It's like unlocking hidden treasures. Take vocabulary, for example. If someone says, "I'm absolutely starving," even if you don't know the word starving, the context tells you it means very hungry. That's the beauty of listening. You learn words through real-life usage. You're not memorizing a list. You're understanding the feeling behind the words. That way, you don't just remember the word. You remember how it's used when it's used and why it's used. The same goes for grammar. Let's say you hear someone say, "I've been waiting for you all day." Maybe you don't know the grammar rule for the present perfect continuous tense. That doesn't matter. What matters is you've heard how the sentence is used. And the more you hear similar sentences, the more you internalize the structure. You start speaking in grammatically correct sentences not because you memorized rules, but because you've heard them enough times to feel natural. Now let's talk about pronunciation. English can be tricky. Some words don't sound like they're spelled. Words like comfortable, choir, or Wednesday can confuse even advanced learners. But when you listen, you don't learn how the word looks. You learn how it sounds. You begin to notice that comfortable often sounds like comfortable, or that Wednesday is pronounced more like Wednesday. These real-world sound patterns are only picked up through listening. And all of this, understanding vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, it leads to something powerful: confidence. When you start to understand English as it's spoken in real life, something changes. You feel less nervous. You feel more ready to respond, to join in, to speak up. Confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from familiarity. And listening gives you that familiarity. The best part? You don't need to sit down and study listening. You can make it part of your daily life. Play an English podcast while you cook. Watch YouTube videos in English while you eat. Listen to songs you love and follow the lyrics. If you like football, listen to English commentary. If you enjoy movies, pick an English one with subtitles, then try it again without subtitles. You're not just learning, you're living the language. And here's another powerful technique: shadowing. When you watch a video, try pausing after. A sentence and repeating exactly what the speaker says, copying their tone and pronunciation. This simple practice improves your speaking and helps you sound more fluent and natural. Now, let's dive into something that might seem a little intimidating. At first, accents. English is spoken all around the world, and that means it comes in many different flavors. American, British, Australian, Irish, South African, each has its own sound. At first, hearing different accents might feel confusing. But actually, it's one of the best things you can do for your English. Let's say you hear an American say water with a soft D sound. Water. Then you watch a British show and someone says water with a clearer T. Water. It's the same word, different sound. Now you're learning not just a word, but how that word can change depending on who's speaking. Each time you hear a new accent, you're training your ears. You're building listening muscles that make it easier to understand English no matter where it's spoken. The more accents you hear, the more flexible your brain becomes. You're getting used to the full range of English, not just one version. It's like learning to recognize different musical instruments. You get better at hearing the differences, but also at understanding the music overall. And with different accents come different expressions. In American English, people might say, "That's awesome," to show excitement. In the UK, you might hear, "That's brilliant," or "She's lovely." And in Australia, you'll hear mate for a friend or brekkie for breakfast. Listening to different accents teaches you not just how English sounds, but how it's lived, how people express emotion, humor, politeness, even frustration. This helps in real life, too. Imagine you're traveling or meeting people online. One day you're speaking with someone from New York. The next day, someone from London. Then someone from Melbourne. Each person speaks English, but in their own way. If you've practiced listening to these accents, you're ready. You can follow along, understand the jokes, respond naturally. That's powerful. That's fluency. Even movies, music, and shows become easier and more fun. You watch a British series and finally understand why people laugh at certain lines. You hear an Australian travel vlog and catch all the expressions. It's not just about language anymore. It's about feeling included in the culture. And the more you listen, the more confident you become. You don't panic when you hear a new voice. You don't freeze when someone speaks quickly. You've trained your ears and you trust them. That confidence shines when you speak. You're no longer guessing, you know. And that makes all the difference. To build this skill, start simple. Choose something familiar. A news video, a short vlog, or a cooking tutorial in one accent. Use subtitles the first time if needed. Then listen again without them. Over time, challenge yourself with different accents. Try repeating key phrases. And most importantly, don't stop, because this isn't just about English. It's about connecting with stories, with people, with the world. Listening is your bridge. And once you cross it, you'll find yourself in places you never imagined. When you regularly listen to English, your brain starts picking up patterns, phrases, and sentence structures. Slowly, you'll find yourself understanding directly in English without needing to translate. For example, think about a simple sentence like, "What are you up to?" which means, "What are you doing in casual English?" At first, this might feel confusing, but after hearing it in conversations or movies, you'll automatically understand it in English without thinking, "Oh, that means, what are you doing in my language over time?" This ability grows, and soon you'll be able to think in English. Why listening builds faster. Understanding and speed effortlessly. Why listening builds faster. Understanding and speed listening is like the speed training of language learning. When you listen, you train your brain to process English quickly, which is especially important in conversations. Imagine someone is talking to you, and they're speaking a bit fast. Thanks to all your listening practice, your mind is already used to catching important words and understanding the main idea quickly. For example, let's say you're at a cafe and the barista says, "Hi there." "What? Can I get started for you today?" Maybe you missed one or two words, but with listening practice, your brain catches the main message. They're asking for your order. You reply confidently without overthinking. This kind of speed and understanding comes only from lots of listening practice. English isn't just about words, it's about tone. 2. Tone is how people's voices rise and fall to express different emotions. For instance, if someone says, "Oh, really?" with a high surprise tone, they're genuinely interested or shocked. But if they say, "Oh, really?" with a flat tone, they might be skeptical or even a bit sarcastic. When you listen regularly, you start noticing these tones naturally. You'll know when someone is excited, annoyed, or joking just by how they sound. And when you understand these tones, you respond more naturally, making conversations flow. How listening boosts your social skills better. How listening boosts your social skills in English. Listening doesn't just improve your English. It makes you a better communicator. Overall, imagine you're in a conversation and you're fully listening to the other person, not just waiting for your turn to speak. This makes you a thoughtful listener, which people appreciate. They feel heard and understood. For example, in a group conversation, someone might say, "I had such a rough day at work." Because you're actively listening, you can respond with empathy. "Oh no, what happened? Was it really busy?" This makes your responses more meaningful and people enjoy talking to you. Listening is the key to building stronger, more genuine connections in English. How listening helps you learn grammar. One of the best parts about listening is that it lets you learn grammar without studying it directly. Think about how kids learn their first language. They don't study grammar rules. They hear their parents and others around them speak, and over time they pick up how sentences are supposed to sound. Let's say you keep hearing people say, I've just finished instead of I just finished. Even if you haven't learned the rule about present perfect tense, your brain starts to remember that I've just sounds more natural in certain contexts. Listening helps you develop this instinct so you sound more natural and less textbook when you speak. When you listen closely, you're picking up the subtle sounds of English that are easy to miss. If you're just reading or speaking, every language has sounds that are unique, and listening helps you master. These sounds, you start noticing things like the sound in words like this and that, which isn't found in many other languages. The difference between short and long vowel sounds like in sit versus seat. The rhythm and intonation in questions, statements and exclamations. One tip here is to mimic what you hear. Listen to a sentence, pause, and then try to repeat it exactly as the speaker did. This not only improves your pronunciation, but also makes your accent sound closer to native English. Listening is also a powerful tool for building confidence. Think about this every time you listen and understand even a little bit more. You gain confidence. You realize, hey, I understood that I'm getting better. Each small success pushes you forward and makes you feel more prepared to speak, even if you make a few mistakes. For example, after listening to several podcasts, you might feel ready to join a conversation on that topic. You'll know some key phrases, ideas, and vocabulary, which gives you the courage to share your thoughts. Listening prepares you for these real moments where your confidence shines through. Sometimes, even after lots of practice, you'll hear words you don't know. Instead of pawing or feeling frustrated, you can use context to guess the meaning. For instance, imagine you here today was such a hectic day at work. There were so many deadlines and I barely had time for lunch. Maybe you don't know the word hectic, but from the context you can guess it means busy or stressful. This skill helps you stay focused on the main idea without getting stuck on every word you don't know to keep listening. Interesting mix-up. What you listen to. Here are some great options. Podcasts. Perfect for hearing conversational. English on any topic you like. News great for hearing formal English and learning about current events. YouTube videos offers a wide range of accents and casual expressions. Audiobooks help you experience storytelling and improve focus and comprehension. Music lyrics fun and helps with rhythm and common expressions. Each of these adds something unique to your listening skills. News improves your formal language. Podcasts help with casual conversation, and audiobooks expose you to longer sentences. And storytelling style. Listening makes you resilient. Finally, the more you listen, the more resilient you become. You'll get used to not understanding everything right away, and instead of giving up, you'll learn to stay calm, focus, and keep going. This resilience is what separates good language learners from great ones. Every time you push through a tough listening exercise, you're building patience and determination. You learn that even if you don't catch every word, you're still growing. Over time, this resilience makes you unstoppable, and nothing in English feels too difficult anymore. The power of listening, ending on a high note. Listening is your superpower. It's the quiet skill that builds every other part of your English. Your vocabulary, your pronunciation, your grammar, and your confidence. By making listening a daily habit, you're giving yourself the best foundation to succeed, not just in English, but in connecting with the world. So let listening be the foundation of your English journey. Start with just 5 minutes. Then gradually increase it as you get more comfortable. Embrace every accent, every new word, every unique phrase, and remember every single minute you spend listening as a step toward fluency. Believe in the process. Enjoy the journey and know that every time you press play, you're bringing yourself closer to understanding, connecting, and shining in English. If you like this kind of content and want to keep growing your skills with us, then don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel Mindset English. Thanks for being here, and keep listening every day.